Good afternoon, everybody. How are you all doing today? It is Tuesday, which means it's time for the Just Gonna Say It podcast. So I'm popping me a fizzy water, and we're going to chat about some guitar stuff. You saw the thumbnail. We're going to talk about entry-level gear and spreading this hobby to new faces and names that might not have it yet. And I think it's going to be pretty cool. I kind of like it. I kind of like this idea. Before we get to that, I would like to thank all of my Patreon supporters who make a lot of our reviews and various things possible, because that's what we use that for. Patreon.com/DylanTalksTone. You can also hit the join button down there in the bottom corner of the YouTubes if you're watching this on YouTube, as well as some of the other links down there that help support the channel as well. Sweetwater, who else we got down there? StewMac, and maybe Runway Audio. So there's some discount codes and some various things down there for their stuff. So please check that stuff out, as well as, of course, DylanTalksTone.com, because we make pickups. And that's what we really do around here. We make YouTube videos too, but we really make pickups. We're actually better at making pickups than we are at making YouTube videos, believe it or not. So that's that. So I just wanted to share those things with you. So if you would support those, that would support the channel. And I really appreciate it. Since we don't really have sponsors, we'll just do that. So in the last few days, well, and actually this afternoon, I'm actually waiting on a UPS package. I've got another guitar coming today. So I went for quite a while without getting any guitars. Also, if you have guitar questions, get in the comments over here in the chat right over here and ask those questions. And we'll try to get to them. If you use the super chat, I will drop what I'm doing and answer that question immediately. So there you go. But yeah, I got a guitar coming today, and this one is not necessarily an entry-level guitar, but the one we got yesterday was. It was the cheapest Squier. It's that new Squier Sonic series, and it's it's a really good guitar. Like, really good guitar. I was really impressed with, impressed with the playability of it, impressed with the fretwork, the finish work, everything. Now, obviously, it is an inexpensive guitar. You know, we've got these other American tellies around here that are fantastic, and you hold them up side by side, and obviously you can tell the quality difference. However, you look at things like that, and then you look at, the Line 6 Spider series of amplifiers. You look at the Orange Crush amplifiers. You look at, all that kind of stuff. And a lot of guitar players, some of us, might turn our noses up at that stuff and just be like, and I will tell you, there were people in the comments of yesterday's unboxing video that literally were like, this is garbage. You shouldn't even, it's not even good enough for students. Some people commented that stuff on Facebook yesterday, and I'm like, honestly, you're just dead wrong. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean it's not good, right? Some of this inexpensive stuff is really, really good. And the idea is, beginner gear is, or entry level. I even want to say entry level. Entry level gear is entry level gear for a reason. Controlling the amount of resources that we put into a hobby that we're not necessarily sure that we're going to be interested in, for ourselves or for a relative, is important. You don't want to go spend $1,000 on a guitar and then realize that you're not going to play it, or you don't like to play it. So it needs to be, at a price point where, I'm not going to say it's disposable, but it's not an overextension of something that you should do. But on the other hand, it's got to be good. We all know that guitar hurts your fingers when you first start it. And if the guitar isn't set up properly, if it's not, I don't even want to say set up properly. If the guitar is not good, it's going to hurt. That's just kind of how it is. And when you get the best quality of something that that you can get for the amount of money that you want to invest, it makes everything better, right? And now I know. And then the other thing that happened in the comments a lot on a lot of these videos is, well, this other Chinese knockoff brand is just as good, blah, 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 blah. And it might be. I don't know. I don't care. I don't buy that stuff. I just don't. Another thing that I think people don't look at when they look at beginner or entry-level gear is the long-term, where are you going with this thing? If you're trying to get, if you play a Les Paul, or if you play a Strat, or if you play a Tele, and your son or your daughter or your niece or your nephew wants to play guitar, and you go get them some sort of off-brand something that sort of looks the same, they are not going to think that is cool as if you got them a Squier or an Epiphone. Because it's not. It's not as cool. And it doesn't inspire them in the same way. They don't have the thing that looks like Dad's. They have a thing that is the cheap version or the knockoff version that sort of looks like Dad's or uncle or aunt or whoever, whoever they are, to you. It's just really, I think that people overlook that there is this preoccupation with the deal in hobbies, especially guitar stuff. What's interesting is you don't see this so much I find this very interesting to me. I'm in some other hobbies, right? So knives and shooting and bicycles and what else? RC cars. In those hobbies, people just want the good stuff. They just want the good stuff. If they're enthusiasts about their hobbies, they don't go and buy a bang good RC car knowing that it's a pile of crap that they will probably have to fix a bunch of times because they can't afford an X-Max or they can't afford some other, brand name Kyosho or something, depending on what kind of car it is. They don't do that. Enthusiasts don't do that. In the knife world, as you learn about knife steels and knife manufacturing and you enjoy the hobby, you don't on purpose go buy a gas station knife because it looks sort of like a Benchmade. You don't do that. Nobody does that. And nobody walks around saying, I have 5 gas station knives that sort of look like a Benchmade. Nobody does that. In the gun world, everybody knows that Taurus is an entry-level kind of pistol, right? And okay, it's an entry-level thing, and you might have it for a while, but as soon as you realize that there is better things out there, most people will move on from that. But somehow in the guitar world, people are somehow proud of their stack of cheap guitars. I don't understand it. And the reason this is important, you can be like that. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. You can buy whatever you want. And I'm glad that I just want everybody to play. So whatever you think is cool and whatever you want to play, you should play. Here's where I get a little finicky about it though. When we are trying to bring new players into guitar land, there's 2 things that guitar players do that I think they should stop doing. One is they should never make somebody feel bad about their gear. Like you should have this instead of the thing you have. And they should never make them feel bad about their playing or their lack of tone or whatever, because that was another thing. Well, people just don't realize that they don't have any tone. Well, it's because they're new. They don't know. They're learning. They're encouraging them to learn. That's a really, really important thing. But the other thing is, don't remove aspirations from people by saying this Chinese knockoff guitar is just as good as a Les Paul, because it's not. And I know I've been banging on about this quite a bit lately, but it's because of the sort of content that we're coming out with lately that this type of mentality is really coming out of the woodwork. And everybody should play what they want to play and be inspired to play what they want to play. However, when you are sharing with other people, you need to allow them to do that. I need to do that. Obviously, that's something I'm also always working on. That's why we're having this conversation. And 2, we need to not discourage people from, I don't know. There's just so many brand haters and stuff that what happens is it discourages other people. Well, I'm second guessing buying a Fender now because some guy said some stupid thing about him that wasn't actually true in the comment section of a video. It happens. Don't do it. And don't share stuff that's not your personal experience that can be verified. We've talked about this many times. It just drives me friggin' insane. I bought 2 Tellies and 2 Strats, and I had to return them both because they were all garbage. Yeah, I bet. Let's see. People shop with their eyes. I do too. I want the guitar to look cool. I want to feel cool when I play it. Oh, some gun people are proud of their cheap Taurus and high points. It's not just guitars. Yes, you are right. Until somebody with their high point 9mm gets completely outshot by somebody with a Glock. I mean, come on. And I'm not a Glock guy, but you understand my point. That's the other thing too. There are other sports that there isn't so much perception. There's other hobbies that there isn't so much perception in. This knife right here. Okay, you might not pay $350 for it, but it's a solid chunk of S35 and G10, and it's handmade by a guy in San Diego. You know what I mean? It's a piece of art, really. Obviously, this is going to be more expensive. It is going to perform better than 440C with plastic handles. It's a measurable performance improvement. The thing is that there is a measurable performance improvement between a Squier Telly or a Squier Strat and an American Pro 2. Just because you personally don't think it's worth it to spend $2,000 for an American Vintage 2, like this other thing I got over here, that doesn't not make the guitar better. Just because you have a Japanese whatever from 1985 that nobody can get anymore and nobody cares, except for you, and it's just as good as, doesn't make it true. There are statistics and performance and measurable things that say that this guitar that I've got, and I'm not saying because I have it, I'm just saying it's the guitar I have right now, we're using it as an example, is better than some $500 thing. Whether you personally get value out of it, that's a different story. But in a lot of these other hobbies, it's much more measurable and there's a lot less perception in it. The thing is it's just as measurable in guitar stuff if people would allow it to be measured and accept the measurements when they see them. But guitar players don't accept reality. They just only go on their perception of whatever. Now, that is finances aside. Now, if you say, I only want to spend X amount of dollars on my hobby this month, or I can only spend, want and can are two different things, but they net the same result. I want to spend only $500 on my next guitar. I can only spend $500 on my next guitar. They net the same result on their face, but they are two different kinds of people. I want to only spend $500 guitar on my next guitar is the person who's going to look for value and tell all his friends that he got some kind of great deal, and he's going to be proud of all his cheap guitars because he wants to only spend $500 on his next guitar. The guy that says, I can only spend $500 on my next guitar may, when he sees value in something that costs $900 or $1,200 or $1,500, say, wait a minute, I'm going to save up some more because I want that other thing instead. And he might have the self-control to do it. Want and can are two different things. And what's weird is they're oppositely annoying. The want guy who wants to only spend so much money is the annoying guy. And the can only spend, who's actually broke, is not as annoying because he's satisfied with what he has until he saves up for the next thing. And he has the self-control to do it. I don't know. These are all things that annoy me. Gear is changing so fast it can break a rich man. Maybe. But, I mean, like that guitar I just bought, it's just a Tele. You know what I mean? Like, it's not changed. It hasn't changed. The whole reason is because it's the same as it was before. Is the reason I like it. Maybe this is the defining factor between professionals and fanatics like us. I know a pro photographer using a much less expensive camera getting better results than amateurs using more expensive cameras. Yeah, exactly. That's really true. And it's the same thing with guitar stuff. I just don't understand why people are proud of being cheap. I guess maybe that's the thing that bugs me. Is why people are proud of being cheap. An Aston Martin performs better than a Ford Taurus Police Interceptor. However, hang on. I bet a professional driver would outperform us in the Ford. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know. I love my Fender American stuff too. Yeah, I mean, it's just an interesting thing. And I know that I've been banging on a lot about this lately, and I'm sure people are tired of hearing about it. And there's probably people that have switched away from this hearing that I'm talking about it again. But the reason I'm bringing it up this time is because I am really thinking about new players. We are better at making pickups. Who is we? We have 3 of us here that make pickups. I wind everything, but I've got 2 other people here. This Tele that I got for $199 is so good. And this guitar that I've got coming this afternoon, we will be doing a live unboxing of it later. It's not $200. It's more than $200. In fact, it's 15 times more than $200. It's not cheap. So you have both ends of the spectrum, right? And I think both guitars are just as cool for different reasons. But one of the things I've been really focusing on with doing my reviews lately is not so much trying to prove to someone that a guitar is worth a thing, because that's not what it's about. What it's about is understanding which customer the product is intended for. So, for example, in the American Pro 2 versus American Vintage 2 video, if you are, I want all my Squiers to be $500 or less, and I think they're just as good as an American guitar guy, the video just wasn't for you. It just wasn't for you. That instrument was not for you. Period. End of story. You don't need that guitar. You're not going to want that guitar. You don't even need to watch the video. I mean, please watch the video, but you don't even really need to watch that video. That video is for the person who is right now shopping for either of those 2 guitars and wanted to know the difference. So getting in the comments and being like, I have a $400 whatever that's just as good is fine. Thank you for the interaction, but missing the point of the video. See what I'm saying? And I think I want to be better about doing those videos like that. I also really liked doing the sound samples afterwards. Sometimes sound sample videos to me get too long and drawn out, and you don't get to hear all of the details that you wanted to hear about the particular guitar. So putting them afterwards to where you could just listen to them, bang, 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 because everybody complains about how you do review videos. Whether you didn't play it clean. Yes, I did. The reason it sounded dirty is because the pickups hit the amp harder. That's why. The pickups were hotter. I did play it clean. And that's why I put amp settings on the screen so that you could see I didn't change them, like, etc. Like, you know, no matter what you do, you can't make everybody happy. But the idea was everybody always wants these A-B things. I think they're boring. I hate making them. So let's just put them at the end of the video. So if you're really concerned about that, you can watch it. I really like doing it like that. I thought it was a really efficient way to do the video. I'm going to continue to do those like that. Show a couple intro clips of playing just so you understand what we're talking about. And, you know, we did that in the beginning, you know, both guitars, just a little bit, kind of played them through. But then really did that A-B thing. And I really, really like that. What is this clean you speak of? I agree. I contend. Well, here's the other thing. Let's talk about this for a minute. And again, I don't want anybody to stop watching the channel. But if you've watched my channel for 10 years and continually complain that I never play clean, do you not just figure out by now that I don't play clean? I don't know about you, but when I find a YouTube channel, sometimes I don't watch every video with the same goal. You know, like sometimes it's because, I don't know, for example, there's a couple of knife channels that I don't watch every video, or actually I do watch every video, but I watch every video from almost all the channels that I subscribe to. But I don't pay attention in the same way because I just know that when they show some Chinese knife brand that I've never heard of, I'm not going to buy that knife. That video is not really for me. I don't really care. I still watch the video because I'm interested, but I don't get in the comments and be like, this other knife is way better, blah, 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 blah. I don't do that. I take in the information. I log it in the back of my mind. I know where I can find it on YouTube. It doesn't necessarily apply to me, but it's okay. I kind of get it. Cool. It's kind of cool. I'm not going to buy that product. It's not for me. And then I move on to the next video. And the next video that comes out from that channel, I'm like, ooh, now this I'm interested in. And I turn over there and I watch it. And I go down below and I click on some links and I figure out what's going on with it. And maybe I buy that product. But I don't know. I don't understand that mentality of the purpose of watching something or learning from somebody else is to tear it down. And I don't care if you do it because I just don't pay attention to you if you do. But it goes back to speaking about trying to draw people to a hobby because we want more people to play guitar. We want guitar sales to go up. I personally want modification sales to go up because that's how I make a living. But we all want this thing that we're so worried about it dying to not die. I would go out on a limb. Here's my just going to say it moment for the day. I'm just going to say it. Guitar players are the ones that kill guitar. It's not Justin Bieber's not killing guitar. Crotchety guitar mudgeons. That's what I call them. Guitar mudgeons are the ones that are killing guitar for other people. We need to figure out how to welcome people and how to build up the community more than tear it down. I think it's really true. Screw all of those brands. Gibson is not an off-brand. They're pretty friggin' awesome right now. It's really cool. They just hired somebody else or promoted somebody else into their branding thing. The Gibson path I'm really stoked about right now because I think they're going to do a really good job, or it appears so. It appears they're moving in a direction to shoot younger, now I didn't say more broke. I said younger. And to pick up the next level of audience down. Nobody cares about, here's another just going to say it moment. Nobody cares about Jimmy Page's audience. They're all going to be dead in 10 years. Okay. So what they're looking for is, I'm sorry, but if you're old, guitar players that you've not heard of before. Nobody cares about Alex Lifeson. Nobody cares about that stuff when it comes to growing the brand a little bit younger. They're going to come out with a new Dave Grohl thing, I'm pretty sure, which I will be buying if it's not $10,000. They will be going younger. And when I say younger, I don't mean 15 years old. I mean something I think people don't understand is that the Jimmy Page generation physically will be dead in 10 years. So who's going to buy the next guitars? Well, now we need to go into the 80s. And we need to go into the early 90s and see who those guitar heroes were, or who at least the people that we enjoyed. For example, like Adam Jones from Tool. You may not care because you might be caring about Jimmy Page still. But after you die, who's the next guitar hero? Who's the next people that are going to be cared about? Dave Grohl, Adam Jones, those guys. I think it's really, really important that you continue to just step down a little bit. And what the thing about that is the income of that age group can afford Gibsons in this day and age. Whether they do it on credit, it doesn't matter how they do it. I'm in that age group and I can afford Gibsons. And even if I can't, I will buy and sell. And if I want one, I can do it. Not everybody is some struggling musician or some broke person who thinks they deserve a Gibson. Most people who buy them, well, they are obviously their audience. So it's really, really, really a cool thing. Jay Mashis, excellent example. Old folks might not have heard of this guy. Even John 5, I think it's a really cool thing to think about. Hang on. I saw some questions in here. I think the main guitar brands are doing a thing and they're doing it well. Looking to get one of your ceramic humbuckers. In what use cases would you recommend the 8-ball over the Quattro and vice versa? I would only get the Quattro if you're playing really high gain stuff. If you're playing and even then, I don't know. It's really, really specific. It's cool. It's really cool. You have to have a 50-watt amp to get any kind of cleans. It will hit the amp really, really, really hard. There's a lot of magnet. So I would say, in my opinion, I wouldn't even go 8-ball. I would personally do a Super 8. Under most circumstances, that's going to get you your widest. That's going to get you your widest use case. I still think you need to show younger than 90s guitarists. They're not exactly young either. Okay, so great point. But here's the thing. We also have to cross that with income. Okay, so, okay, we can use me for an example. I want a Dave Grohl guitar. If that guitar ends up being $3,000, I'm going to, if they come up with a Gibson one that's $3,200 or even $5,000 because it's a 335, I will probably save up and I'll probably buy one. It'll take me a while to save up, but it's a dream guitar. It's on my dream list. Okay. So now I'm in that age group that's going to want that guitar. There are going to be a lot of people in my age group that are going to want a guitar hero of that vintage. Okay. So 90s. Late 80s. If you go too young, then the income won't be there. But that's what Epiphone is for. Okay? That's what Epiphone is for. However, my kids, so if you want to reach younger and go Justin Bieber age, well, my kids are a little, well, yeah, they are. So they're late teens. Well, they're 20. Both of my kids are 20 and 22. So for the last 10 years or so, I've had kids, obviously, since they were 10, in this really young teeny bopper music age range. And they would listen to that stuff. They would listen to also Pantera. They would also listen to country music. They would also listen to all kinds of things. And so it is my responsibility as a parent to make sure they get exposed to stuff. But I'm the one with the income to be able to give that to them. If you go too young, then nobody will be able to afford it. So it's all about the in-between generation and the generation just below to kind of bring the whole thing up. So you don't shoot too young. I don't personally market to teenagers because they can't afford my products. But I market to early 40s, late 30s who may have kids that are teenagers. That's the trick. And I think that's what people who just play guitar and say mean things on the internet all the time don't technically understand. Is that it's a stepping thing. And the other thing is the brands are built in a way to be aspirational. That's why the $200 Squier is so important. That's why not buying some off-brand stupid guitar is so important, because it gets you into this kind of ladder system of, oh, I want the next one. I want the next, my next guitar is going to be X amount of dollars. My next guitar is going to be X amount of dollars. And by the time you get to my age, I just bought my first Les Paul. It took me a while, probably took me longer than some other people because I had other focuses, but mountain bikes and stuff, but that's the idea. Now, if my kid wanted a guitar, he would probably get the Epiphone version. You see what I'm saying? And it kind of just keeps going up like that. That is how it works. How long till AI makes musicians obsolete? They never will. Spotify's been taking AI generated music down. I think it's going to take a while to, kids these days play Guitar Hero computer game and cheat at it. Bill Brett, you sound like a very pleasant old man. But I personally, I have kids. You may not, or maybe you just see them on the internet. I have kids, and who were very recently teenagers and very recently young enough to be video gamers. And I will tell you that the next generation of kids coming up really like stuff, and they really like actual life. Yes, they enjoy TikTok. Yes, they enjoy, stupid things on the internet, obviously, and memes and all that kind of stuff. But they're a lot smarter than I think old fogies give them credit for, and I do not subscribe to that idea. I really do feel that they can do more, and will do more. AI is not going to give. Here's the thing about it, y'all, with this AI stuff. It is up to you to not let it go obsolete, to let yourselves go obsolete. Find a way. I'll bet the Dylan is just another wanker on minor pentatonic scales against stock rock blues progressions. I use them quite a bit in demo videos because that's what you like. Personally, I don't play that music. I do use it in videos all the time. People give me a hard time about that, actually. He just plays the same thing every time in every video. I do. And it's for comparison purposes. I got the idea from the Acoustic Letter. Tony Policastro, because he does the same thing. I actually play punk. So if I go out to play a gig, I usually play punk. And so I don't play the kind of music that I actually play on the channel. I don't know if you knew that or not, but so, sorry, some of these comments are getting really good. I'm enjoying this. We need to have guitar heroes. Where are the new guitar heroes? They are not nowhere to be found. They're everywhere. It's just you're probably for Instagram. I got a super sticker from... Oh, hang on. Let me see. Thank you for that. I appreciate your super sticker, sir. Yeah. Name a mainstream guitar player that's legit good and famous. There are none. I tell you what, I'm going to leave that to all of you in the comments to prove this dude wrong, because he's wrong. He's wrong. I mean, there's plenty of them. Aaron Jones, Tim Henson. Now the style's changed a bit, right? Like Tim Henson's style is very, very different than shreddy Yngwie garbage. But I say garbage, I mean people like that. People that talk like that, who are like, there's no good new guitar players. The reason they say that, I don't know, because I'm not this old crotchety fart, but I'm pretty sure that they mostly think that because what they think is a good guitar player is a very narrow thing. Like if it's Jimmy Page or die, you know what I mean? Or Eddie Van Halen or die. And when you start to really broaden out the horizons of what a guitar can do, and then you look at somebody like Matt Bellamy, for example, who makes crazy noises with his guitar and does very, very cool things with Muse, right? But it's a completely different style. It's a completely different way of looking at the instrument. A band like 12 Foot Ninja, who uses crazy, crazy tunings, for example. I think of all these things where bands will completely use totally different... Well, John Mayer, duh. Right, exactly. There are all kinds of different ways to use the same instrument, but since they don't sound like Jimmy Page or the Allman Brothers, old fogies don't think that it's real. And I think, and also the tools that we use now is different. So people don't give new musicians credit for doing things, because here's the thing I don't think you understand. There are Instagram viewers that get Instagram guitar players that get more views than anybody ever did on MTV or anybody ever did on the radio. I get more views in a day than your local news does. I mean, so we're not talking, the world is a completely different scale place, right? I'll tell you right now, I don't know, what are we like? 400 or 500,000 views a month. That's a fairly large city every month. I think we've had 12 or 13 million views on the channel. Like, that's a pretty good reach. And that's more singles played in views of a video than, a lot of records, right? That are popular. So when you start to look at how music goes out, you're just not searching in the right place, and you can be, and I'm not going to say this, I don't want to single any one person out, but you can end up not looking in the right place because you don't know how to use Spotify, or you don't know how to use a touchscreen, or you don't know how to use, a search engine, or you don't want to, or you're not willing to, or the width of your taste is so narrow that you're missing a lot of good stuff. Guthrie Govan, it's for sure. It is for sure. There are amazing new guitar players, but not in the big mainstream. The average person on the street won't know these players mentioned in the chat. The Beatles people know. Well, here's the thing about that. I will 100% take your point, Dan. 100%, Dan Cruz. I will 100% take your point. And here's why. Because the distribution system has been decentralized. That's why. There was only one way to learn about the Beatles, and that was through popular radio. Now it has completely spread out. So you are right that the way we find music has changed. However, it is better than it used to be in a lot of ways for the artist, but the distribution has completely spread out. You know what I mean? Ken Teal, I'm glad you really like what we're doing here. Squiers are the best cheap guitars. They sure are. They sure are. They're pretty good. I bought more new music in the 10s and 20s than I ever did in the 80s and 90s. You know, it's possible that there's more. I think not to be contradictory to some of the folks that are saying there's not as much new music out there. There's probably more, but because it is decentralized, because it is, I think it's an interesting thing to think about. It's just harder to find. I don't necessarily say it's harder to find. We also don't spend the time the same way. I can't remember the last time I went to a live show. I'm actually going to one at the end of the month. Somebody I've never heard of on purpose because of that, Artists make less money now. They make less money through the normal conventional way. They make less money through airplay. They make less money through like streams and stuff, but there's a lot of other ways that artists can make money that they can use to supplement that. And that is actually better than it used to be. So the whole thing has changed. Yeah. You're slacking. Get yourself a Rolex and put your money where your mouth is. Yeah, I've looked at Rolexes. I will probably go for an Omega instead, but I have some other financial goals this year that I want to hit before I do that. I was thinking about getting a Submariner, but there's some other things that are more important to me, namely a couple of guitars that I want to buy this year. So I think a fancy watch is going to be out for the time being. I mean, I will get one, but, you're bragging about not passing on information about a good quality deal that is an off-brand. That's idiotic. Ken, if you don't like what we're doing, I can just ban you if you want. Feel free to, whatever. It's all about positive. It's all about positive contribution to a community, right? So if you want to be part of it, you're welcome to. Dan, you got an Omega? I want one. It's on my list for sure. I really want a Speedmaster. It's gonna happen. I'm buying a house, so it's one of those. Got to be smart before I can go buy an item like that. I really want one though. I've got a bunch of other cool watches in there, but you know what's funny? Once I got this, I was never an Apple Watch guy, and I have a whole box full of watches, and I love watches. It's like a major thing for me. And I do have some other nice stuff, some other Swiss stuff and whatever. But once I got this Ultra thing, they came out with this, I've finally just really enjoyed wearing an Apple Watch, and so it's just kind of turned into that. Dan, what if you, okay, so I don't want to get too far off topic here, but since you mentioned this, Dan, if you like something more than an Omega and you know what they cost, like an Omega Speedmaster, what would you suggest I get instead? Let's just say that. Throw that in the comments. I'm curious. And we'll keep talking about guitar stuff, but I'll try to catch it. Well, Dan, me and you need to chat then, because I'm a watch freak. I love them. Hey, Ivan, you just got home. Cool. Yeah, and I don't know enough about them. I mean, I like them, and I still, talk to me about knives for sure. Guitar playing's not going to die. I agree. I 100% agree with you. We play for psychological benefit, and we play for social reasons. That's 100% true, dude. Totally 100% true. Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you, Ken Teal. That's totally true. I 100% agree. Yeah. No, it's totally true. If Gibson changed the headstock, everybody wants to talk about Gibson changing the headstock. Don't drop your guitar. It's as simple as that. Don't drop it. I know lots of people, thousands of people, have played guitars without ever breaking their headstock. And I know a lot of people who have broken their headstock on a Gibson. I know zero people. Zero. I know a lot of people that have broken their headstocks. And I have a friend who actually has a shop who repairs broken headstocks. So I've been exposed to a lot of broken headstocks. Out of the hundreds of people that I can think of that have broken headstocks, I know zero people. Zero. The big goose egg, who have broken a headstock by something other than an avoidable event. Everything is avoidable. If you don't drop your guitar, kick your guitar over, or leave it in a situation where it could be kicked over, the headstock won't break. Simple as that. If I ever break one, I'll tell you the story. I have 2 Gibsons right now, and if I ever break it, I will tell you the story of how it broke, and I will guarantee you that there will be some avoidable event that happened that caused the headstock to break. Yeah, I always carry my Les Paul in a actual. That's the only guitar that I actually carry. In the case that it came in. If you have a guitar, you're not poor. 100%. And that's a really good point, right? Just getting value out of whatever guitar you have. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. Yeah, this is super fun. You want me to get a Rolex instead of an Omega? All right. I'd have to give that a lot of thought. I have a reason for wanting an Omega, but okay. I'm extremely careful with my guitars, and I have yet to drop one. You know, it's funny. Oh, is Ken still going on in there somewhere? I don't know. Whatever. I don't care. How about actually practicing your guitar, Dylan, instead of bragging about the brand name products you own? I'll tell you why. I would play more, but I don't have time because we're making pickups so much. That's really what our thing is. I think I said it at the top of the thing that we make pickups way better than we make videos. The stuff that we make here is really good, and I will brag about that because I'm good at it. Any thoughts on the Fender Robert Cray Standard Stratocaster? I have not owned a solid body since the 70s. Now that's a hardtail, right? So that's really cool. I'm actually building a hardtail for a guy right now. That is very cool. I would definitely, hardtail strats are cool. In my opinion, I think they're neat. And everybody says, oh, I would totally love a hardtail strat, but not very many people actually own them. And so I would, if you are even thinking about a hardtail strat, I would totally do it. If it's something that you, if it's something that you want, I would be down. I would be totally down for that. I can't remember what the pickups are like in that. I don't remember liking the pickups, but yeah, taking it from me is kind of dumb because I don't like very many pickups. Although these days I've been buying all right, I tell you what. Let's real quick here. There, we don't got to deal with that crap anymore. When you got just an intentional troll, it's real easy to just click a button and he's just gone. He might be able to comment in the next video, but not for now. Maybe he will find the error of his ways. Yeah, Robert Cray is a really good player. No, awesome. You guys, this has been super fun. Let's see, random question. I have an old Godin SD24, probably just before 2000. I got it. Resale value, I don't know. Resale value, I'm not really sure. I don't know enough about those to tell you the truth. I will say that, okay, so you guys we're chatting. We're all friends, right? This is real-time stuff. I don't like banning people from the channel. We just had a huge blowout about this in a comment section about a week ago where somebody said that I was deleting comments. I do not do that. If you put links or dirty language or racist language or whatever, YouTube automatically kicks that stuff out. I do not delete comments. If someone is so here's the thing this is the standard that I use. Okay. I'm a huge freedom of speech person, way more than even YouTube is. I believe that we should be able to talk about stuff that YouTube doesn't want us to talk about. I believe that the only way to tell if somebody is an absolute freak is to hear them out. If I don't agree with you, that's okay. But I want to know that I don't agree with you. I don't want to shut you down before I find that out. I am very, very tolerant of all those things. A lot of people don't think I am. A lot of people think that I am very like, if I don't agree with, if he doesn't agree with me, blah, blah, blah. No, I want to hear it. If you are a jerk or a freak or some kind of wacko, I want you to get that all off your chest so I know 100% for sure before I make a decision about you. That being said, you can offend me, you can say terrible things to me or about me or whatever. I have heard and seen it all. I have a YouTube channel. I do not care. It bounces off of me and I do not even care. The when you get banned or when you get deleted from the channel is when it starts to affect the rest of you. I stick up for you. I can take whatever. I don't care. But going back to the original point of this video in the very beginning, we care about new players. We care about new audience members coming to the channel. We care about people growing in this hobby and having a safe place to grow in this hobby. And if you are a jerk or if you are an intentional troll, that is affecting the spirit of everybody else that's having fun. This is a hobby. This is fun. We do this for fun. And once it becomes not fun, because some moron is in the comments, you're out. Not because of me. I don't care. I don't care. I could just close my computer and I don't have to listen to you. But if you are attacking other viewers, if you are attacking other guitar players, I do not know why somebody gets in the comments and says bad things about somebody else's guitar playing, about their, whatever. I don't care what you say about me. But when it affects the community, you're gone. End of story. I will not put up with it. And if I ever challenge you to a duel and you do not have the balls to come back with one, I have no time for you. And that duel might be, I'm going to be in your town next weekend. I will buy you a beer. And I want you to say all that stuff you said in the comments to my face. Not one person has ever taken me up on that. And don't believe that I won't do it, because there's people in the comments down here that know that I am that kind of guy and that I'm that stand-up kind of guy. I might be wrong sometimes, but I will never lie to you. And I'm not lying right now. 100% that gets under my skin more than anything else, because I love you all and I want this whole thing to just continue to grow. That's the most important thing. And I don't mean to go off about that, but man, I feel really strongly about it. And I want the community to know that I feel strongly about that. Not in an angry way, because I'm not mad about it, but just in I will stick up for you and I will stick up for people that want to play guitar and have a safe place to do it. I think it's really important. And to be able to say whatever they want to say, but you can be nice. You can be nice. It's really, really, really important. Let's see. I'll buy you a case of beer. Can you just come to my town for a beer? Absolutely. Absolutely. You guys, this is super fun. I got to go. Keep these things for an hour on Tuesdays. Plus, I think I have a new guitar coming in. We will be online later. Hang on one second. Let's just track this package really quick. And it has come in. The guitar has come in. I got to go to my in-laws and get it. So I'm going to say that at about 6:30 or so, we are going to go live with another live unboxing. And I think you are going to love it. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you soon.